All right. So we've been speculating for a while that as Donald Trump continues to not suffer consequences from different events that take place during his presidency, he's going to become more and more authoritarian. The latest, of course, was his acquittal in impeachment, and we anticipated that he would become even more unhinged and authoritarian. If Donald Trump were to be reelected in November, he will become even more authoritarian and unhinged and acting unilaterally. And why wouldn't he, right? From the start of the Mueller probe, we said this is not going to remove him. And Trump got out of it. Yeah, sure, some of his friends went to prison. He's trying to reduce for how long, of course, as we see with the Roger Stone case. But why wouldn't he become more authoritarian? He got away with it. The 25th Amendment, many argue, should be used to remove a president that is increasingly unfit temperamentally, cognitively, to be president of the United States. Doesn't matter. It's not going to remove Donald Trump. We now saw impeachment, acquittal, Trump getting away with it once again. So if you are Trump, why don't you do whatever you want? Because they can't touch you. It really seems as though he is indeed Teflon Don. Talking about pardons possibly now. We'll get to that a little bit later. Remember that Donald Trump so to give you the reminder, Roger Stone, Trump's associate, was convicted, and the recommendation from prosecutors was for 7 to 9 years in prison. Donald Trump flipped out, tweeted. Yesterday, we did a story about Trump's tweet, which subsequently was followed up by the Justice Department backtracking and saying, well, we no longer recommend 7 to 9 years. We just recommend some prison time. This immediately led to the resignation of multiple prosecutors on the case who were disgusted with the way in which this was being handled. And then yesterday, Donald Trump gave one of these gong show press conferences, and there is so much to look at here, a lot of it related to Donald Trump's incipient authoritarianism. The question asked of Trump, will you pardon Roger Stone? Trump says, I'm not ready to say yet, but there's lots of people who, by the way, haven't been charged with any crimes, who in Trump's mind are worse than Stone. Listen to the specific words Trump is using here, and then we'll discuss.
Are you considering a pardon for...
I don't want to say that yet, but I tell you what, people were hurt viciously and badly by these corrupt people. And I want to thank, if you look at what happened, I want to thank the Justice Department for seeing this horrible thing. And I didn't speak to them, by the way, just so you understand. They saw the horribleness of a 9-year sentence for doing nothing. You have murderers and drug addicts. They don't get 9 years. 9 years for doing something that nobody even can define what he did. Somebody said he put out a tweet, and the tweet, you based it on that. We have killers, we have murderers all over the place, nothing happens, and then they put a man in jail and destroy his life, his family, his wife, his children. 9 years in jail, it's a disgrace. In the meantime, Comey walks around making book deals. The people that launched the scam investigation, and what they did is a disgrace. And hopefully it'll be treated fairly. Everything else will be treated fairly.
So there is so much here. First of all, notice that Trump said, I didn't talk to the Justice Department. Now, we don't know if that's true or not. Trump lies all the time. He may have spoken to the Justice Department. He may have spoken to the Justice Department indirectly. But Trump publicly tweeted his displeasure with the recommendation of 7 to 9 years in prison for Roger Stone. The Justice Department is monitoring Trump's tweets. Bill Barr knows what it is that Donald Trump wants. So this idea that even if true is a mere irrelevant technicality, that Trump didn't talk to the Justice Department, he slips that in there. Then Trump says Stone shouldn't get 9 years in prison because James Comey isn't in prison. Now, that's not an argument. I believe most of our audience would understand that. It is not a legal argument. It is not an ethical argument. It's not an American argument to say Stone, who's been convicted, shouldn't get 9 years because the FBI director Trump fired to obstruct the Russia probe isn't currently imprisoned. Comey's not been charged with anything, never mind convicted. There are few things less American than suggesting Stone's sentence should be lower because someone who's not been even legally, formally accused of a crime is not currently in prison. Then Trump was asked, and this is very interesting, did you learn a lesson from impeachment? And Trump says, yeah, I did. Democrats are absolutely terrible. Check it out.
The Republicans have said they hoped you would learn a lesson from impeachment. What lesson did you learn from impeachment?
That the Democrats are crooked. They've got a lot of crooked things going. That they're vicious, that they shouldn't have brought impeachment, and that my poll numbers are 10 points higher because of fake news like NBC, which reports the news very inaccurately, probably more inaccurately than CNN, if that's possible, MSDNC, and your MS, and if you take a look at NBC, now I think they're among the most dishonest reporters of the news. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
Now, this actually is logical. Again, the Mueller probe, Trump gets out scot-free, believes it's an exoneration, even though it's not. 25th Amendment stuff isn't going to touch him. Impeachment, he gets acquitted. He's gotten away with pardoning people. All of this stuff, right? Yeah, what Trump learned from all of these things, including impeachment, is there's a lot of people trying to do stuff to me. They're failing. I feel like it's an exoneration, and they must be bad people because it's all felt like a huge waste of time. Now, by the way, this issue of continuing through our tour of authoritarianism through Donald Trump's mind, despite saying yesterday that he did not talk to the Justice Department. Here he is in the last couple of days saying if he wanted to talk to the Justice Department and tell them what to do about Roger Stone's sentence, he absolutely would have the legal right to do it. Check it out.
I thought it was ridiculous that if that's, no, I didn't speak to the justice. I'd be able to do it if I wanted. I have the absolute right to do it. I stay out of things to a degree that people wouldn't believe, but I didn't speak to him. I thought the recommendation was ridiculous. I thought the whole prosecution was ridiculous. And I look at others that haven't been prosecuted, or I don't know where it is now. But when you see that, I thought it was an insult to our country.
And again, he's probably right. He probably would be able to get away with that because he gets away with everything. And once again, comparing Roger Stone to people not indicted, not prosecuted, this is a completely un-American way to evaluate a sentence. Someone not charged with a crime is free. So Stone shouldn't get 7 to 9 years because he's on Trump's side politically. This is, I try on this program. We don't want to be hyperbolic, but we don't want to understate things either. This is one of the most fundamentally un-American ideas that we've heard from Donald Trump so far. And if allowed to continue for a second term, this is exactly the type of thinking that escalated by being a sitting duck, by feeling exonerated from the Mueller probe, from impeachment, so on and so forth. This can lead to a very, I will say, an even more dangerous Donald Trump in office, which is why we have one recourse, we have one option, we have one path to his removal. You all know what it is. I won't even say it, but it takes place in November. Make sure you're following The David Pakman Show on Instagram for more coverage of this and other stories at David Pakman Show. And while you're on Instagram, follow me at david.pakman. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. One of the things I make a priority on the show is not to perpetuate stigma for things that don't deserve it. We've talked about mental health. We've talked about many things where we should all just be respectful adults, period, and we would be better off. And Blue Chew can increase performance and give you that extra confidence you may be looking for. BlueChew.com, blue like the color blue, is the first chewable with the same FDA-approved ingredient as in Viagra and Cialis. It can be taken day or night, even on a full stomach, since it's chewable. It works twice as fast as a pill. Whenever the opportunity arises, Blue Chew is prescribed online by licensed doctors. You don't have to go to a doctor's office. You don't have to wait in line at a pharmacy. It ships right to your door in a discreet package. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, it's cheaper than a pharmacy. And best of all, no more awkwardness. We've got a special deal for our viewers and listeners. Go to BlueChew.com. Get your first shipment free when you use our promo code PAKMAN. That's PAKMAN. Pay just $5 shipping. That's BLUE Chew.com, promo code PAKMAN to try it totally free. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice, and we thank them for sponsoring the David Pakman Show.